What's up, peoples? Hey, guys. So good to be back. Um, Happy Monday. Today is January 26, 2026. Still down here in the freezing temperatures in Southwest. Gonna hydrate real quick. Got the tea working. Got the headphones on in case somebody called me. I might call my boy. This is pre-recorded, just to let you know. As many of you see, new channel. I do have another channel. Check it out if you will. Curtis, welcome to my crazy life. But most of that is motorcycles and just random stuff. Could be talking about doing Bible studies, doing a thing podcast called Vibe where I'm just talking about a lot of different things. State of the Union where I talk about God, I talk about motorcycles and current events. So, but this channel here is dedicated specifically to Miami Hurricanes content. So, as I said, it's all about the you. So, thank you for the people that have subscribed. I really appreciate that. I'm just a fan like any one of you, and that's why I say fan community. I'm pretty sure that we can share, I would say, communication and share information on, our perspectives, our views, our hopes, dreams. A lot of people have been Miami Hurricanes fans a lot longer than I have. For those that don't know, I was born in Florida, obviously, West Palm Beach, St. Mary's Hospital. Check it out. It's the hospital right across from the beach. Can't miss it. Still there. Then I grew up in New York for most of my life, and then now I'm down in Texas because of my job. But still a Hurricane fan, and that's kind of how these things came to be. So today, on the 26th of January the 1st, as many people know, they dropped the 2026 schedule. So I decided to come on and touch base on the 2026 schedule, a little bit of that, as well as the quarterback room, right? So I wanted to kind of do like a break, like just a little synopsis, like the quarterback room, the running back room, the tight end room, the wide receiver room, the O line, and so forth, and like take each one because spring practice is almost here. Since Miami went further in the playoffs and had the opportunity to play for longer. It's February, basically next week, and then it's March and it's spring practice. Freshman workouts have already begun. In case you don't know, for some people that are into that, I've heard some good things. I was watching Kane's Insight today, and I saw that, and I might, bruise or browse and see some things that are written, whether it's the State of You or Kane's Warning. When you just Google Miami Hurricanes. And then of course, if you were paying attention a little bit, kind of, you're aware of the 30 signings that they did sign, and that some of them were already practicing with the team during the playoff run. So those practices, those are valueless. Where people you're getting in, you're learning the system, you're seeing the way that they practice, you're seeing the way they work out. You're already in the weight room, you're already enrolled and ready for classes. So getting more acclimated, moved into the dorms. There's only one person I believe that is not on campus at the time, and that is Kirsten Bush, the linebacker. But from my understanding is that he's supposed to be good to go. So, yeah. So, without further ado, before we even get into that, I'll just switch to something real quick. So, yeah. Hi, everybody, real quick. So, this is a new channel. This is new content. I am your host, Curtis. And generally, I'm here with the Michigan bro, Jonathan, giving you some Miami Hurricane sports content, just updating things that are going on and our opinions. We're just fans like anyone else. So if you like the content, please join in the conversation. We'd appreciate your comments, your thoughts, opinions, even advice. And let's get back to the show. So, all right, got back from the little paid broadcast. And that's my little PSA. My boy Jonathan is not here today. He's probably in the house chilling. I might call him. I might not. I'm not really sure. But let's just get into what we said we were going to get in today. So let's think how we're going to approach this. So the first thing I suppose that everybody would really want to know is what's going on with the schedule. And they did drop that. So let's take a look at that first and foremost. Let me try and get that on the screen for you. I'm a one-man team right here. So, all right. So we got that on the screen. How are we going to do it today? Today we're going to rock like this. All right. So in the first week, let me hydrate. I got something in my throat. Excuse me. Stanford Cardinal, September 4th, Friday night. Looks like obviously all the times have to be announced at some further point. Second week, going to be rocking into the Florida A&M Rattlers. Then taking on week 3, Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Week 4, Central Michigan Chippewas. Week 5, Clemson Tigers. Get a bye week. Week 7, those Noles. Week 8, the Panthers. Week 9, the Heels. Week 10, going down to Ann Arbor. Excuse me. Yeah, so week 10. Did I say the Hills already? So then after the Hills, going to go down to the week 9, rather. Oh, week 10, really. I'm not really sure exactly. Then go down to Notre Dame. Then you got Duke Blue Devils, Virginia Hokies, and then Boston College Eagles. And then, of course, the goal, because the way it's situated now, is ACC Championship. So I saw that, and there's a couple ways that you can look at it. I thought this graphic right here was pretty good too. In case you liked it, what do you got? That looks kind of snappy. I like that the way it's situated. But also, I wanted to take a look at those teams and what they kind of did last year. So I'm gonna come off of that, and as I do my little magic right here, I'm look at the 2026 schedule, and then I'm gonna put it back up there for you. So Stanford was 4-8 last year, right? And Florida A&M was 5-7. Wake Forest was 9-4. Central Michigan was 7-6. Clemson was 7-6. Florida State was 5-7. Pittsburgh was 8-5. North Carolina's 4-8. Notre Dame was not 10-2, just like the Hurricanes last year. Duke 9-5. Virginia 11-3. Boston College 2-10. So if I were to project right now, and then it's the ACC championship, and let's project, right? So we're gonna project. We're gonna put that up there. We're gonna do it right here on the screen with you. So let's go to home. Let's get that. Let's paste that bad boy. And now we got that projection. So Stanford was 4-8 last year. It was a close game in the first half, and then Miami pulled away. So I'm gonna go ahead and chart that out as a win. You agree or disagree? Let me know, guys. So we're going to do that right here without even knowing everything about them. I'm going to put that in a column. So Florida A&M, obviously it's a non-conference game. Still going to put that as a win. Wake Forest, I'm definitely going to put that as a win. And the reason, just, excuse me, off the top of my head, we know that there's good Wake Forest team, but talent for talent, I think that Miami is clearly the better team. Central Michigan, another one. Let's chop that as a win. Clemson, going to Clemson. This is one of the games that I call a tricky game because you don't know how Clemson is going to play. It's the game before the bye week. But the fortunate thing that we see right here for Miami already is that they don't really have too many demanding games. So you got Stanford, and I spelled that wrong. I'm gonna correct that right here. The Cardinal, yeah. So you don't really have a demanding game. Central Michigan is quality. It'd be a good game. It should be basically easy 25, 30-point win. So the hope is to get out of that healthy and then go to Clemson. I would say this is a tricky game. It could be a win or a loss. You don't know what the team, as of right now, if we say that they're playing at this level that they played at when the playoffs were going on to national championship, we could put that as a win. But if we're going to be fair, we don't know anything like that. We'll leave that one as no decision right now, right? No decision. Then we got Florida State at Miami. That's definitely a win. Pittsburgh, Heinzel's coming back. We know that. So, but if Miami plays the way that they're capable of playing, even a good Pittsburgh team, it should be a win. North Carolina, that team is still in kind of disarray, but we're going to check some of that stuff out. Notre Dame, at Notre Dame, say no decision right now because we don't know a lot, but we're going to get into some of that in a minute. Duke, I think we'll win. I have it in blue because that's the Darian Minson game. Virginia, the Wahoos, I think that's a win. And then, so really, the way I'm looking at it is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 10 wins that we know right now that there should be. And then you have the Clemson game and the Notre Dame game. And even though Florida State is a rivalry game, so you could say it's no decision, whatever the case would be. But at worst, Miami record should be 9-3 right now. And so if you win the Florida State game, so that's 10. I think they're going to win. That's 10-2. If you beat Clemson, then that's 11-1. If you beat Notre Dame, then you win out. I personally think they're going to beat Notre Dame, but let's just be fair about it and just say no decisions on that Clemson and Notre Dame game because they are clearly both on the road. But right now, I would project that Miami, at worst case scenario, should be 10-2 next year. And being that there are only one, the way it's looking right now, if you say they lost the Clemson game, then they would be 8-1 in conference in the ACC championship, playing for the ACC championship, ranked in the top 10, and expected to go to the playoffs. As of right now, not seeing anything about any other team, just knowing the roster that we have, knowing the coaching staff that we have, and the momentum that's carrying over from this year into next year. And that's not knowing anything of any other teams that are out there, not knowing who's on their staff, who's going to be their quarterback, injuries, all that stuff. We won't know any of that stuff until basically around the first week of the season, when the season begins. So that's kind of the way I see it, the way I feel about it right now. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but if you do, please drop something in the comments. I enjoy the conversation. I try to answer them. I hope that as the subscribers continue to mount, then we have the opportunity to go live, because if we're live, then you could call in and we could talk live at the same time, which I would appreciate. I think that makes for great communication and gives you some different views because, like I said, I'm just a fan. I don't know everything, and I'm open to different views and open to see things. Plus, it's really good to be able to talk to people from different parts of the world about Miami. So I think that would be really cool going forward. So since we did that, the next thing I want to do is I want to take a look at the ACC standings, because we do play some teams. Let's put up on both sides here. Let's put up this right here, and then let's do this. All right, so I'm dead center. On one side, we got the schedule, and one side, we got the ACC standings. So if you look right now, Virginia was 11-3, Miami was 13-3, Georgia Tech, and so forth. As I scroll down this, the ACC standings. This is on Fox Sports, so anybody can get that, right? And we can see, the potential candidates. So you look at Stanford right there. Last year they were the first game 4-8, 3-5 in the ACC, 4-2 at home. Looks like I'm correct. Let me just make sure. Yeah, 4-2 at home. But we got them on the road. We get them at Miami, so expecting a win there. Scored 226 and gave up 350. So you figure that Miami's going to have a nice little advantage. Florida A&M Rattlers, we're not going to check on them, but we'll check on Wake Forest. They were 9-4, 5-2 at home, but looks like we get them at Miami. So they scored a little bit, 365 points, gave up 287. Not going to look at Central Michigan, Chippewas, but let's look at Clemson. Last year they were 7-6, but they were 3-4 at home. And you're going into Clemson, 354, 267, right? Florida State last year was 5-7, 5-2 at home, but they're coming to the house. They're coming to Hard Rock, 396 and 264 as far as what they scored and what they gave up. Then we looked at Pitt. We played Pitt, right? Pitt was 8-5, 4-3 at home, but Pitt is coming to Hard Rock. They scored a little bit, 438, but they gave up a lot, 322, right? And then we saw, I always say the statistics really don't mean anything because it depends on who you play. So you could have the statistically number great or defense, but if you haven't played anybody of quality that can challenge you, it really doesn't mean anything. Case in point, Pittsburgh had this great defense that they were saying, they take away turnovers and they're going to be hard to move the ball. And we saw that. That was 38-7? And it could have been a lot worse. Miami left a lot of points in the game, on the field in that game. All right, so then moving on, going down to North Carolina. North Carolina was in disarray, even though they actually did finish the season pretty good. They played, I would say, at a their level was pretty good. They were in form, but at the same time, definitely not on the Miami Hurricanes level. So at this, we have to go to Chapel Hill, but they were 2-4 at home last year, and they 231 scored, 294 they gave up. Notre Dame, enough said, right? We all saw that game. It wasn't as close as it wasn't as close as it appeared to be by this final score of 27-24 because Miami dominated that game. They were leading 21-7 in the fourth quarter. I believe that they learned their lesson by calling off the dogs. I don't think that will be the case this time. Obviously, this will be a heated game, much like all games, but specifically because a lot of the comments, a lot of the chirping that was going on at the end of the season, who should get in, who should not get in. I think that this is one of those games that Miami should go in with the attitude, we're going to leave no doubt. But I'm going to leave it as no decision on projections for the year. So we'll see what happens. And a lot is pending on the quarterback situation. So I'm one of those people like say, hey, once the hen is in, then we can go ahead and make a really solid prediction. Duke Blue Devil, not even concerned about that. If Darian Mensah, the quarterback from Miami, going to play the Duke Blue Devils at Hard Rock Stadium, everybody's going to be up for that game. Great. Virginia Hokies, always an interesting matchup. Could be a tricky game because the new coach, right? Because they got Franklin. They're recruiting. He saved their recruiting class. They do have some talent. I don't know. I need to look if Jones is still going to be eligible to play another year. Was he a senior or not? Because that makes a difference who their quarterback is. But Virginia Tech's always a great game. But I just think in this instant at Hard Rock, I think Miami should win this one comfortably by 17 or more points. Boston College last year, I think Boston College was 2-10. Yeah, they were 2-10, 1-6 at home. They gave up a lot of points, 393. But I'll give them credit because they definitely played Notre Dame tight into the third, almost to the fourth quarter. So yeah, traditionally at the end of the year, if it's in Boston College, it can be tricky. But I think that game right there would be a coronation of getting to the ACC championship for the first time. Yeah. All right, so let's get out of that. And we're going to now take a look at the three teams that I think we should look at, and we're going to put them up on the screen now. So the first team would be Notre Dame. Let's get that ready for you. All right, so as you see right here, Notre Dame's 2026 roster is supposed to be top tier, number 3 by ESPN. You're going to have C.J. Carr returning, the defense end, Boubacar Tyrone, I believe, Terraro, something like that. You also have Francis Beaulieu and Keon Kelly. They're going to return their tackles, Antoine Knapp and Sullivan Absher, as well as their wide receivers, Greathouse and Faison. So the offense should be legit as it was last year. But again, it's a different animal when you talk about the Miami secondary because O.J. Frederick, Ethan O'Connor, Xavier Lucas, Damari Brown, Antoine Jabari. Of course, you had Keontae. But now this year you're going to have Thornton in replace. But you still bring in somebody like Jordan in. I think is going to play very well. You also, who else? You have Fitzgerald and you have Poyser. I think Miami's definitely in a position to be able to handle the Notre Dame offense. And, you saw the key to the game. You stop the run, you make them one-dimensional, and then you do your thing. So C.J. Carr is the projected starter for Notre Dame. You see the defense right there. Bobacar's bringing back 7.5 sacks from 2025. Excuse me, let me hydrate real quick. Defensive tackle Francis Bruce coming back. Keon Keeley and the defensive backs McKinney and Jaden Sanders are supposed to be. Offense, you still get Whitehouse, Faison, and Cooper Flanagan. He played pretty good in that game. And Preston Frizzle. Yeah, offensive line, like I said before, Antoine Knapp's coming back. Sullivan Absher, Ashton Craig. And the kicker is, I guess they say Spencer. The departure, obviously, is Jeremiah Love. In fact, I think both running backs start. And their defensive coordinator, if I'm correct, just went to the NFL. So this should be an interesting game. So that's number one. Let's go to the arch rival and nemesis. Florida State's 2026 roster is coming back. It's generally going to be rebuilt, a mixture of a mixture of the transfer portal as well as the incoming signees and those that are overlapping and coming back. So They only have 48 players from their 2025 campaign that are projected to return. They're going to have significant turnover, and obviously going to be a heavy reliance on that transfer portal. The key returning starter is Deuce Robinson. I think Deuce was like 6'4", 6'5". He was problematic, but he really didn't do that much damage in the last game when Miami played them up in Tallahassee. The Desert Twins still there. They're going to be the defensive line, as well as cornerback Jabari Rawls. They're going to have Makai Danzy. I know they lost the receiver. I can't remember exactly where he went, but he's returning. Like I said, the Desert Twins is coming back. Omar Graham Jr. as a returner is coming back with in the line, not as a returner, but in the linebacker group. He's coming back. The quarterback situation, this is the one. So last year was about Tommy Castellanos, right? And it was about Guy Malzone and his offense. But when Miami played them, they were able to negate a lot of the things that Tommy Castellano and Gus Malzone wanted to do. So what they really do is like to change the pictures, give you a lot of eye candy, but you have to be really disciplined. The Corey Heatherman defense and the Miami players played very disciplined, and that game was not as close as 28-22 would lead you to believe. Miami dominated that game all the way into the fourth quarter, turned up the dogs, and started playing prevent defense, which allowed Florida State to come back, get a lot of points, particularly in the fourth quarter. I don't think they'll make the mistake this time. I think they're going to close the deal. And like I said in Notre Dame, you want to leave no doubt. Make sure this is a nice, clean, tight victory. The good thing about this game is that they get them coming off a bye. So in case there's any health issues, the offense hasn't really peaked yet, you're going to be able to come in, do a little fine tuning, put a little sazon on what you're doing, and then jump back out and get ready to the rest of the season. Then you got Florida State and Pitt back to back. All right, so they do get Ashton Daniels will be coming in to be the starter, I guess. I'm not really sure exactly what's going to happen with that. They get some depth additions with Jason Jenkins, Darryl Jackson Jr., and Daniel Lyons. So like I said, it's going to be a lot of turnover. We'll see what happens. Then the last major game, obviously, is Clemson, right? So got to take them seriously. So they losing Cade Klubnik, right? They losing Antonio Williams, wide receiver, but they do expect some players back. So that means the redshirt quarterback Christopher Vizina. I saw him play. He was okay. And I believe that he played in that Penn State game which they lost. I wasn't really terribly impressed with Clemson in that game. I'll be honest. I thought the Penn State quarterback played much better. I thought Penn State defense played better. I was really surprised that it seemed like Penn State was the more physical team and the faster team. So I really don't know what to expect from Clemson yet. Got to see what happens when we get to spring practice and see what their spring game looks like and their fall game looks like. We do have to respect that Dabo is a good coach and that he usually has his players bought in. Last year, maybe it was an aberration or maybe it's a decline. They haven't played great 2 years in a row, so we'll see what happened. But they're bringing back T.J. Moore, Bryant Wesco, who can be electric, as well as the defenders Willie Helt and Sammy Brown. So I guess Vincino's going to be the starter. Wesco's coming back, like I said, as well as Moore. They still have Will Helt coming off the edge, but we'll see what Miami's offensive line. I think the Miami's going to be a lot better on the offensive line than people are going to give them credit for. And those are the major three teams that we should be looking forward to and trying to just keep our eye on and just see what's going on with them. Because Clemson, I don't know what their schedule is, but maybe they come into that game undefeated and ranked. I know that they're projected to be in the top 25. So I know Notre Dame also is projected to be in the top 25. And I don't know what Florida State is going to be like. We know that Pitt and Virginia Tech, they could have one of those years. We don't play Louisville this year, so we'll see what the schedule. Like I said, this is all projected. This is tentative. This is way too early. Top 25 is way too early. Looks at what the season possibly could be like. So the last thing I wanted to do is I want to talk about the quarterback room. If I could, let me see what's going on here. Let me get that up for you. I think this is going to be interesting. Let's see, the quarterback room. Okay, so let's put that up on the screen. So you'll notice that there's only one highlighted name. That's Darian Mensah. Again, hasn't been pen hasn't set to paper yet. But if Darian Mensah is the quarterback, he is the only one with any type of experience. Luke Nickel played last year. He had one attempt. Didn't complete it. So Darian he had 500 attempts. Obviously, he played well. I like that his yards were almost 4,000, 34 TDs. His rushing was interesting, was minus 32, but that's a compile with sacks as well as rushing yards. So I didn't really pay attention. I did not put down if he fumbled at all last year. I'm pretty sure that there is a statistics for that. And INTs was 6, which is low. So that touchdown to TD ratio is pretty good. His completion percentage was 66.8. That's playing with the Blue Devils in a Shannon Dawson's offense. We're going to expect that completion percentage to rise up. I'm going to say somewhere between 73 and 76. And if he's just if he's on fire and hitting, then he could bring that thing up like Julian saying up to 80%. But we don't know. But I would expect to be somewhere between 73 and 76%. I would expect pretty much the similar results. I would say 34 to 40 touchdowns, similar interception rate. Miami's offense was scoring approximately 32.3 per game. I would expect next year, with the influx of talent, the influx of receivers, the tight end is going to make a big difference when you have Mueller, when they go 3 tight end sets with Mueller, Gilbert, and Lofton. I think that's going to be an interesting set that teams are going to have to deal with because you're going to be able to run the ball, and those 3 tight ends, if you pay your base defense against that, they're just going to eat. They're going to eat. They're definitely going to eat. And then when they go 5 wide, you have Vaughn, Vandrevius Jacobs, Tony, which you could put in the backfield or in the slot. And I would say, who else would be in there? Maybe Josh Moore, Wingo, or Milan Paris, and definitely Van Spafford when they go slot to slot and they put Malley on one side and Van Spafford on the other side. This is gonna be some problems. There are gonna be some problems. So I expect Miami's offensive, I would say their points per game should probably be somewhere in 40 to 42, 43, if all things are equal and they play up to their potential. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, so this is kind of what's going on right here as far as the quarterback room. Judd Anderson doesn't have any experience. Luke Nickel doesn't have any experience, and Deron Colin is a freshman. So expect him to redshirt. I've never seen Borchers. I don't recall seeing him that much. But yeah. Expect Mensah to get all the reps in spring practice, and then the battle for number 2 is going to be between Judd Anderson, Luke Nickel, and Darion Coleman. That's going to be an interesting one. I would favor, if it were me, even though they talk about Luke Nickel a lot, talk about his ability to read defenses, push the ball downfield. I think Darion Coleman needs to gain some weight. That's what I'm thinking because he's 165. They say 6 feet, so let's say 6 feet, 165. Sort of like, what's the quarterback from Texas A&M? It's like kids that type of stature, or no, from Mississippi, Ole Miss, Trinidad. So if he gets up to 190, 195, that would seem like to be able to withstand the possible pounding that you can get. But Miami's offensive line in the last few years has been really good, and quarterbacks don't take a lot of sacks. They get rid of the ball well. People may not agree or may not like Shannon Dawson as much as other people do, but hey, it is what it is. Yeah, I think that we're going to be looking good. I would say worst case scenario right now, if all the wheels fell off, you're talking about 9 and 3, playing mid 10-2, playing up to the standard 11-1, 12-0. Facts. I have total complete. I mean, literally, a lot of things would have to go wrong for them to be less than 10-2 and play in an ACC championship game. Considering who they play, who they're returning, who the other team's returning, where they play them in the schedule, I think that, we're looking at a very successful team. And I would say this, that when we look at the roster as it stands right now, considering that they're talking about 2027, they should be top 3 as far as a signing class. And then I think 2020, you're looking at I don't say windows, but a span of about 5 to 6 years right now where they're clearly going to have the number 1 roster in the ACC, clearly going to have the most talent in the ACC, and the ability to win more than anyone in the ACC. And right now they're dominating, particularly in the state of Florida. So they're undefeated in the state of Florida in the past 2 years. That's credit. I don't know what you want to call it. What you want to impute that to, if you like it or if you don't. But these are the facts. So we'll see what happens going forward. But yeah, pretty much that's all I got. Thanks again for the people that did subscribe today. I really appreciate that. Helps me to know that I'm probably communicating the right way, which is the goal. Is that we're all fans. We're all in this together. Miami Hurricane community. Please forgive the fact that I speak fast because I'm a native New Yorker, not a native Texan. I can't say native New Yorker, but I grew up in New York. I'm really a native Floridian. But these are the facts. So, all right, I guess you guys are good to go. Please enjoy the rest of your night. Stay safe out there. If you don't know Jesus, today could be the best day of your life. Go Hurricanes, and I'll see you guys on the next one.